Okay, so Unit 3 is on populations, and this first case study is how the New England forests contain a variety of species. And so this variety of species came about because of the succession that took place after colonization occurred. So the folks came here from England and then eventually Europe. They turned all of the New England land. They cut down trees, they built houses, they made farms, and they were growing crops. And so then after people started moving further in to the Midwest, where the cropland was more fertile for the plants to grow, then we saw all of this succession taking place, as you can see in this picture here. This used to be a farmland or a field, and now it's a forest because of succession. And so because of that, now we have these complex interactions among populations of different plant species, insects, and other things that we've created in this ever-changing ecosystem. Okay, so that's what that case study is all about. It's a very good case study to talk about succession, which we covered in the last unit. So we're going to move into Module 15. Module 15 is going to be about generalist species, specialist species, K and R selected species, and we're also going to talk about survivorship curves. And so these are all very important topics, so make sure that you understand, first of all, the difference between generalist and specialist. A key term that they mention as they're talking about the two different types of species and their reproductive strategies is something called biotic potential. Biotic potential is the maximum potential for growth. That's the term that they use here in the book. That's not my favorite term. I like to think of it as the maximum amount of population growth that can occur under ideal conditions. So in other words, if you have a rabbit, what is its biotic potential, or how many babies or offspring can that rabbit have during its lifetime under ideal conditions? That's biotic potential, and so that's what we're talking about here. That then brings us into two different types of species, and you do need to know the difference between K-selected species and R-selected species. So make sure that you definitely understand those differences. Excuse me. On page 178, I apologize, I must have a summer cold. But on page 178, there's this great table 15.1, that lists the different traits of K-selected and R-selected species so that you can compare those. This is a table that you should know. I mean, if they say which one gives more parental care, K-selected or R-selected, you should understand that it's K-selected species. Another thing that this section talks about is that there's a spectrum of species, so it's not like you're all K-selected or you're all R-selected. There's this spectrum, and organisms in real life, you can imagine like K-selected is this label over here and R-selected is this label over here, and all species really fit within that somewhere. Okay, and so we tend to break these down into three different categories when we place them on a survivorship curve. So make sure that you understand what a survivorship curve is. It looks at age and the number of survivors. And that we have type 1 species, which generally are K-selected. We have type 3 species, which are R-selected species. And then here in the middle is kind of the type 2 survivorship curves, where species that are in that spectrum fall within here somewhere, okay? And so that's what type 1, type 2, and type 3 curves are. I would read through this, make sure that you understand it, make sure that you know these curves. So if you see a curve like this, you can identify that as type 1, and then know some examples of organisms that follow that curve, okay? All right, so that is it for Module 15, and I'll see you next time.